Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to continue where I left off on the previous episode, where I talked about the extreme of one aspect of the world always appears like the extreme of the other. And I'm going to continue with the lies. Atheists are liars. But when someone is too good at lying, the lies they speak will start to appear no different from the truth. The greatest lies will seem no different from the truth, will appear no different from the truth. And the greatest facts in this world will appear no different from a lie. It will appear no different from fiction. And the biggest proof of that is that God is the world itself. The world itself is intelligent. The world itself is alive. The world itself is God. And that's the truth. Many atheists say that God doesn't exist. But that can't be possible. Why? Because if something can't exist, something can't truly exist in this world, our minds will not be able to think of it. Why? Because our minds are still the world itself. That's how strange this world is. The fact is, and this is a fact, anything that exists inside your mind automatically exists in the world itself, because your mind is still the world. That's what people don't understand. That mind of yours is a mind that belongs to the world. Your mind would not exist if not for the world itself. Your mind comes from the world. That means anything that exists inside your mind, all those fairy tales, all those stories that exist inside your mind, exist in the world already, because your mind is the world. If something is not possible in this world, it won't be possible in your mind. The fact that your mind can think of it proves its possibility. Everything inside your mind, everything you can think of, is a possibility in the world because it already exists in the world. Your mind is still the world. And that's a fact. Your mind is still the world itself. You can't separate the human mind from the world, meaning God's existence is 100%. If it can exist in your mind, it already exists in the world itself. That's a fact. And that's why you have to be careful. The greatest facts appear like it's fiction. They appear like fiction. And the greatest fiction appears like facts. Atheists are liars. But they're so good at lying to you that you start thinking they're telling the truth. Christian scholars tell the truth all the time, that this world itself is God, that this world belongs to God. But when the truth, gets to a certain level, it starts to appear as if it's a lie. That's why there are many people in this world, right, who will never believe the earth is round. Because when they see with their eyes, when they look outside, they see a flat earth. Because they see a flat earth, they start to believe the earth is flat. So when the scientist tells them that the earth is round, they start to say, no, you're lying to us. How can the earth be round? That's impossible. The greatest facts in this world always appear as if they're fiction, as if they're lies. But they're not. The world is round, and God is the world itself. I talked about God in the previous episode, so I'm not going to talk about God as much on this one. Atheists call themselves free thinkers, On this episode, I'm going to talk about atheism and their lies. The biggest lie of an atheist, one of the biggest lies, is that, they're free thinkers. They're not closed-minded people. That's a massive lie. Someone who wants to become a rich person, right? If you want money and you're poor, what do? You search for a way to make money, right? If you're a poor person and you want money, you search for a way to make money, right? And then you look for ways. And when you find a way, you start working hard to make that money. If you want friends, you search for a way to make friends, right? An atheist tells you they want proof. They want to believe that God exists, but there's no evidence that God exists. If they really wanted to prove that God exists, if they really cared about evidence, they themselves would be searching for evidence. If they truly wanted to believe that God exists, they themselves will be searching for evidence that God exists. Don't you see the problem there? They tell you they're free thinkers, but they themselves never do any research. They don't care whether God exists or not. They call themselves open-minded. Yet, the moment it comes to God, they immediately dismiss any evidence. They don't care about evidence. Most of these atheists, they tell you they care about evidence, they care about facts. No one has ever brought facts to them. But that's a lie. If you cared about facts, you'll be the one going out searching for facts. If you cared about the truth, you'll be the one going out searching for the truth. You won't be waiting for a Christian to come and tell you the truth. You yourself will be searching for the truth. If you want to discover something, if you believe the earth is flat, right? Guess what would you do? You will go out searching for proof that the earth is flat. But an atheist does the equal and opposite. They do the equal and opposite. And they still call themselves open-minded people. That's a lie. You can't be open-minded and not be out there searching for truth, searching for answers. And when people bring answers to your doorstep, you immediately deny it. You don't even care to read facts. You just immediately deny it as false. That's the behavior of an atheist. That's the mindset of an atheist. They believe that God doesn't exist, right? Yet when you ask them for proof, let them prove to us that God doesn't exist. They tell you there's no such thing as proof. You can't prove that God doesn't exist. So they tell Christians not to believe things without evidence. Yet here they are, believing something without evidence anyways. They tell you they're free thinkers, yet here they are believing things without evidence. They call themselves open-minded people, yet here they are believing that God doesn't exist without proof that God doesn't exist. They tell you themselves that they can't prove that God doesn't exist. And they also believe that God doesn't exist. And they still call themselves free thinkers. They tell Christians not to believe things without evidence. Yet here they are believing something without evidence. Isn't that the mindset of a closed-minded person? They call themselves open-minded. Yet here they are believing things without evidence. Just like the Christians they mock. I've watched so many debates between atheists and Christians. The atheist never brings any real arguments. The atheists never bring any real points. All they do is mock the points that Christians bring. When you tell them the truth, they mock the truth because the truth sounds stranger than fiction. Now, when you start asking them for proof to us that God doesn't exist, that's when they start filling your head with lies. You can't prove that God doesn't exist. Well, if you can't prove that God doesn't exist, you shouldn't believe that God doesn't exist. You just shouldn't. Yet they believe it anyways. Yet they still believe something without evidence anyways. Because if they truly wanted evidence, they won't be searching. They'll be searching for evidence themselves. They won't just sit down and say there's no evidence. If they truly wanted to believe that God exists, they themselves will be the ones searching for evidence, not you. The Bible warns you, do your best to make your life as peaceful as possible. Do your best to live a good life. Stay away from drama. Stay away from arguments. So for those who love debating atheists, you have to be careful. All these people want to do is argue. If they cared about facts, right? They themselves will be going out looking for facts. If they cared about truth, they themselves will be going out looking for truth. When a scientist discovers something, when a scientist has an idea, what do you think they do? They go out and search for answers. They go out and experiment to find answers. If you don't know something, you search for it until you find answers. Atheists are not searching for anything. What does that tell you? They are already closed-minded. Because if they truly wanted to believe in God, the proof of God's existence is everywhere. It is too easy to prove that God exists. Too easy. So the only problem with atheists is that it's not that God doesn't exist, it's that they refuse to search for God. They refuse to accept truth. They refuse to accept facts. Just like I said in the previous episodes, it's very easy to prove that God exists. The previous episode I talked about, what God is. God is the world itself. God is the omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient world. The world itself is God. And that's what the Bible tells you. That's how easy it is to prove that God exists. The world itself is God. Your intelligence comes from the world. Your consciousness comes from the world. Everything you have comes from the world. Your mind, your body, even the energy within your body comes from the world. And the Bible tells you everything comes from God. God is the world itself. Why do you think God is omnipresent? Why do you think God is omnipotent? Why do you think God is omniscient? Because God is the world itself. You can't be more omniscient than the world. You can't be more omnipresent than the world. You can't be more omnipotent than the world. Because the world is everything. The world is you. So, who created the world? The world did. The world created itself because the world is God. What you see as the world is God transforming his body into the world itself. What you see as your body is the world transforming its body into you. The world created itself just like the world created you. You're the world, so the world created itself. The world created you, and since you're the world created itself. Human beings cannot be separated from the world because human beings are still the world. So every time you see, an animal, a creature, that creature was created. It was created by the world itself. And since those creatures are the world created itself. God created the world. God created itself. The world and God are synonymous. The intelligent creator that atheists are looking for, are saying it's impossible to exist, is the very world around you. The very world has to be intelligent. Otherwise, humans will not be intelligent. The very world has to be conscious, or human beings will not be conscious. The very world must have a mind, or human beings will not have a mind. Our minds come from the world. Our intelligence comes from the world. Our consciousness comes from the world. Everything that makes up the human body comes from the world. Because everything that makes up the human body is the world. It's very easy to prove that God exists because God is the world itself. The intelligent creator you're looking for is the world itself. And that's what God tells you. That's what the Bible tells you. God created everything because God is everything. That's why God is omnipresent. The very definition of omnipresent means God is everything. When God is everything, by default, God is the world itself. Because only the world is everything. Only the world is omnipresent. The God of the Bible is the very world itself. That's why God is omnipresent. There's nothing in this world that isn't God. There's nothing in this world that isn't the world itself. Everything you know comes from the world. And since the world is God, everything you know comes from God. And yes, the world can create itself. The world created you, right? If the world can create you and you're the world created itself. You are the world and the world created you. The world around you is the source of your existence. So since the world created you and you're the world, naturally the world just created itself. Did it not? It just did. You're living proof that the world just created itself. Everything around you, from planets to galaxies, are living proof that the world created them. The world created itself. So yes, the world can create itself. Your intelligence comes from the world. Your ability to create things comes from the world itself. So naturally, the world can create things. Everything we have is just a small subset, a small amount of what the world has. The world has all the intelligence and gives humans a small amount of it. The world has all the consciousness and gives humans a small amount of it. The world has all the energy and gives humans a small amount of it. That's how easy it is to prove that God exists, because the world itself is God. The world is the omnipresent God of the Bible. It's so easy to prove the existence of God. When it's this easy to prove the existence of God, why do you think there's still atheists? Why? It's because they don't care about the truth. If they truly cared about the truth, I won't be the one giving them answers. They would have already found it on their own. Because it's too easy to prove God exists. It's too easy to prove that this world itself is conscious. Because you can't separate humanity from the world. Humanity will always be the world. And basic tautology states that if humans are conscious and human beings are the world itself is conscious. Since human beings are intelligent and human beings are the world is intelligent by default. If human beings are alive and human beings are the world is alive by default. You cannot separate humanity from the world. Everything that humans have comes from the world itself. Through the world, all things exist. Through God, all things exist. The world is the biblical God. That's why God is omnipresent. God does not call himself the world, just like you don't call yourselves you. But they are still you, 100%. The world is you, but when you call yourself you. You say you're a human, right? That's exactly the same logic God is using. You say you're human, but the truth is you are the world itself. But when you refer to yourself, you don't refer to yourself as the world. You refer to yourself as a human being. You refer to yourself as you. We always have that desire to separate ourselves from our physical form. But the truth is we are our physical form. And that desire comes from the world itself. It's a natural tendency amongst humans to separate the human body from the minds. It is natural. That desire is an innate desire that comes from the world itself. Meaning it's because the world behaves this way. That's why humans behave that way. Because the world separates its mind from its body, that's why humans separate our minds or our identities from our bodies. Everything we have comes from the world. Because the world is intelligent, that's why humans are intelligent. Because the world is conscious, that's why humans are conscious. Because we live in a logical world, that's why humans are logical. Because the world itself is alive, that's why humans are alive. We can't have something that the world doesn't have. We can't have a trait or quality that doesn't belong to the world. Through the world, all things exist. Through God, all things exist. But the greatest truth appears like a lie, and the greatest liars, atheists, always appear as if they're the one telling the truth. But if they were telling the truth, they would just tell you, I'm not going to be an atheist until I find evidence that God doesn't exist. I'm not going to be an atheist until I find evidence that an intelligent creator doesn't exist. But they've already decided there's no such thing as an intelligent creator. There's no such thing as God. No one cares about you. And this is an illogical world governed by illogical beings, humans. But that's not the truth. Human beings are logical. Human beings are intelligent. And our intelligence comes from where? The very world itself. Everything comes from the world. So there's no way the world isn't intelligent. It's impossible for the world not to be intelligent. Our intelligence automatically implies the world's intelligence. But this is what you have to deal with in this world. The liars will not appear to you as liars. The people telling the truth are the ones getting mocked for lying to you. The ones who tell the truth, Christians. The religious people that tell the truth are the ones being publicly mocked for lying to you. While the liars are being hailed as the most free thinkers in the world, as the most open-minded people in the world. These very atheists that only know how to lie and deceive you are the ones people see as the ones telling the truth now. Yet not a single word comes from their mouth that isn't a lie. Not a single one. All they do is lie. But when you're so good at lying, you no longer see it as a lie. People will no longer be able to tell that you're lying to them. Atheists are so good at lying that people can no longer tell they're lying. It is too easy to prove that God exists for there to be atheists in this world. It is far too easy. So the only reason why atheists still exist is because these are the liars. These are the ones who don't care about the truth. These are the people who are too close-minded to care about the truth. Because if they cared about the truth, they would have already realized that their intelligence comes from the world. That means the world must be intelligent. You can't have something that doesn't belong to the world. You just can't. Because everything around you is the very world itself. Everything around you is God. God is the world itself. God transformed his physical body into the world that you see around you. That's why God is omnipresent. That's why God states in the Bible himself, I create all things because only I exist. The world around you creates all things. Why? Because only the world exists. That tree that you see over there is the world itself. The computer that you use on a weekly basis, that's the world. The sun that you see in the skies, that's the world. The earth beneath your feet, that's the world. Every imagination in your mind is the world itself. Everything you see is the world. Everything you've ever experienced is the world. The world creates all things because only the world exists. God creates all things because only God exists. God is the world itself. God is the intelligent creator you're looking for. The world itself is your intelligent creator. Because the world created you. You can't say the world can't create itself because the world just did. The world created you. And since you're the world just created itself. What you think is impossible isn't impossible. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I pray for everyone's safety and understanding. Amen.